Geek Out! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the only podcast that's daring enough to do a wrestling podcast on a pay-per-view-ly status. This is Geek Out Championship Wrestling, a wrestling podcast. I am your host with the most, Chris Nolan, and sitting next to me is my co-host with the co-most.
That's right.
Mr. Timmy C.
Hello, everybody.
And joining us live via satellite from The World, that WWE restaurant in Times Square, Mr. Stephen Harvey.
The A-lister, the most electrifying man in podcasting entertainment.
Ooh.
You practiced.
I mean, to be fair, he is pretty electrifying. I used to work with him. Builds up the static electricity.
But is he the most electrifying?
Anyway,
Anyway,
in podcasting.
we'll get back to that later.
So, we had a pay-per-view this weekend.
How amazing was TakeOver, fellas?
Yeah, that's right. We had a couple pay-per-views this weekend. Let's start talking about TakeOver. TakeOver Philly.
Motown Philly.
That was beautiful.
It was.
As takeovers are wont to do.
I don't think there's been a bad takeover yet.
I can think of takeovers that had low points, but not an overall bad takeover.
I agree.
Yeah. And even then, the low points are few and far between.
Can we start with the Velveteen Dream?
We can always start with the Velveteen Dream.
How much was that crowd into the Velveteen Dream?
Oh, my God. It was like my living room was there at the show because I am so into the Velveteen Dream, and I cannot stand Cassius Ohno.
You were rocking the helicopter, I know.
Oh, my God.
But when he guaranteed the knockout in 30 seconds. And
they counted. It was so beautiful.
Yeah. And his celebration after the 30 seconds of
Right.
knocking him down was great.
I'm so glad that they were counting. Because, I mean, it's Royal Rumble weekend. They're ready to count.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, it was a thing of beauty. I would have been fine with it had it ended at the 30 seconds, but they kept it going, and I was like, oh, this is even better.
Please put a title on the Velveteen Dream
Right?
at some point this year.
Just put sexiest man in wrestling at least. Make that title a thing.
I mean, I'm a fan of Adam Cole, baby. And he will get it at some point. Some point. But I think the Velveteen Dream, I think, is right up there too. I mean, how great is it that you have so much talent? And we've talked about this, Chris. The amount of talent in the NXT pool right now.
Right.
And now you're adding Ricochet, you're adding EC3,
War Machine.
Yeah. So we've added that.
Sorry, there was a takeover called War Games, and it just threw me off.
It was a great takeover.
Yeah,
we did talk about that.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard it, you can go back and hear it.
Yeah,
right?
It is in the archives.
That's true. But I really think I really think that was one of it was a great way to start the pay-per-view for sure.
It was a great way to start the weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know what? To be fair, I think it did set kind of the bar for the whole weekend because there was a lot. It maintained, for the most part. I would say it maintained that energy for the whole weekend.
There really was not like a lull at all.
Yeah. I think the closest to a lull was the pre-show match of the U.S. title, unfortunately, because I love me some Bobby Roode, but like as soon as like Mojo Rawley's music hit, it just.
Yeah,
we'll get to that once we're done with the takeover. But yeah, Velveteen Dream, amazing, did amazing work. I have not been that excited during a Cassius Ohno match
since ever.
Yeah, since ever, and like
even when he was your hero.
He was never my hero. His name just was Chris Hero. I've seen him live in person. I think I've talked about that. It was not that great. I mean, it was fine. Eric Royal did a great job. By the way, speaking of indie wrestling, did you know that the Velveteen Dream? I mean, of course, I'm sure you heard his entrance as being from Capitol Heights or. Is it Capitol Heights?
Yeah,
DC?
Yes. He was in Maryland.
Yeah, have we talked about that?
We did.
Okay. It's still cool. I trained at the same place he trained. Whatever, no big deal.
No big deal. Nice humble brag.
Yeah. That was for Steven's, benefit.
But a good win for the Velveteen Dream.
Yes.
And actually, NXT started with the tag team match, the Undisputed Era, Fish and O'Reilly against the Authors of Pain. Fellas, what did you think about that match?
That was a thing of beauty. Like I had low expectations for the Authors of Pain because, like, to me, they're just kind of like big, brutes that just I pick things up and put them down, and like Fish and O'Reilly brought the like smart, sneaky heel wrestling to that match.
They did,
and it was beautifully executed.
The crowd was half behind them, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was an interesting mix of the crowd chants. I guess some people do like the Authors of Pain. I mean, I don't dislike them. I'm not as into them as I was 6 months ago.
I thought it was one of their better matches. Steve, what you think of the match?
I like the match too. Like Chris said, I knew it was going to be a good match, but I didn't have in like my hopes that there was going to be like something to look forward to. Because like Chris said, the Authors of Pain. I just saw them as like big dudes who like do the same 3 power moves over and over again. But I really enjoyed that match. That really surprised me. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I expected it to be a decent match because and Undisputed was in it, and the Authors of Pain have been getting have gotten pretty good. But I was not expecting it to be as good as it ended up being.
I will say that the Super Collider to the roll-up finish was really my only mark-out moment of that entire match. Outside of that, it was. It was an okay match, but it was nothing to write home about.
Right.
The next match was the NXT Women's match. We had Ember Moon, and we had Shayna Baszler.
So good.
I thought Ember did a great job of selling that arm injury.
Yes. Sure. Yeah. Yes. There were plenty of times where I was like, I don't know if she's faking it.
But her moveset was still great, even though she had the injury.
Yeah.
Supposed injury.
I loved the Eclipse. Where she did the Eclipse and landed and was just like, oh God, that move was perfect and the perfect selling.
And then in the Rumble she did the one arm Eclipse, which was even more impressive than that.
Oh,
but we'll get into that later. But I really wish I don't know, it just was kind of dead for me. I didn't see enough action outside of just a couple kind of okay moments. I don't know about you guys, but that's just kind of my take on it.
That's fair. I got pretty much I was in it for the viciousness of Baszler, and she brought the viciousness. I will say there wasn't I see where you're coming from with there wasn't a whole lot of excitement to it.
Yep.
And I can get that. I can get behind that. But for me, I was like, Baszler's a beast. That's all I wanted. That's all I needed to see, and I did get a return on that.
Yeah, I just wish there was more of that.
Yeah, okay.
I wanted
respect
more.
That.
I wanted more of a build-up. I wanted more of I just don't feel it was as highly contested as it could have been.
Fair. Steve, what do you think?
I get what you guys are saying. I think the problem is that the NXT Women's title, they're kind of like in uncharted territories here because it was just Asuka steamrolling everyone, and now they basically have to build from scratch because they didn't really have since she never actually lost it by pinfall. It's like they're starting all over again.
That's fair.
They just rebooted the women's division, so I think they're just kind of trying to get on their feet and figure out, okay, well, what the hell do we do now?
And building up to this, the Ember Moon's big claim to fame was that she was just second best. So it's not really this is the champion. It's just oh, well, she was the one that was going to get it if Asuka hadn't been there.
Yeah, she never actually beat Asuka. She got it by default. It's like getting, the bronze medal when there's only 3 people in your division.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that speaks to them needing to build up not just the title, but also Ember and the kind of the division as a whole,
Which is kind of refreshing in a sense that they've got room to grow from that perspective.
And they have such a good women's division, especially with the addition of Candice LeRae and all the women that they're still pulling in from the Mae Young Classic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can we get into in my opinion, probably the 2 best matches of the whole weekend?
Oh, we can totally get into the 2 best matches.
Let's get into the Extreme Rules match first.
Oh, my God, what a match that was.
How did they survive that match?
clearly only Adam Cole survived because Aleister Black hasn't been seen since.
Yeah. I think early on they had kind of like a scary mishap where Adam Cole was bloodied. It looked like his leg, then it was his stomach, then it was his hand. Ultimately, it looked like his hand was pretty bloodied up. But But that ladder spot. I mean, there was a table spot. I mean, there were so many moments in that match that it was cringeworthy, but in a good way.
Yes.
Like there was a lot from a Mark perspective. There was a lot to get behind, even though, of course, I was pushing for Mr. Cole.
Mm-hmm. You were? What?
Yeah, I know. Shocking.
What? No. Go figure.
I know, right? But
Timmy Adam Cole C? What?
but I got to say, Aleister Black,
right?
That guy is really good.
Oh, he's got so many good things coming to him. Like we already mentioned it, but like just the he's one of the extreme, the amazing talent pool that NXT has right now. Like he's one of the biggest guys, definitely in NXT, potentially one of the biggest guys in the whole company.
Right.
And he's just in NXT. Same thing with Velveteen Dream. Same thing with Adam Cole.
I guess the fun part to me about NXT, and especially with some of these guys, is you get to really see the future of what's coming down the pike.
Yeah.
And especially, and of course we'll get into it, but with Shinsuke Nakamura winning the Royal Rumble, you get to kind of see the evolution of everything. Because remember last year we're talking about Shinsuke as one of the top faces of NXT.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, where's he going to go from here? And to kind of see all that, it's almost like, hey, I wonder what's going to happen with Aleister Black and Adam Cole and all of these guys that are really coming through the ranks. And granted, on the independent scene, some of these guys are huge. But for if our only focus and everything else is blinders on is WWE, it's really cool for the fans to kind of understand in NXT who these guys are and gals are from an independent scene, and then seeing them kind of grow into their role as it is today in WWE. So it's just fun for me. Is like you've got and I hate to even call it minor leagues because to me the NXT is just kind of showcasing. If you're not in the independent scene, you don't watch independent. Here's what you get with these individuals in the independent scene, and then now you see them, kind of rolling up to WWE.
I've always looked at it as like NXT. You're right. I don't think NXT is the minor league. I've always looked at it as like the college football to the WWE's NFL.
Right. Yeah.
And like you see them play for college, you're like, oh man, I can't wait till he gets drafted and gets picked. And
no, that's a great analogy.
It's similar
to better because like college football players, they're trying to get noticed, so they're going out harder. And not that the pros don't go hard, but the college football guys go a little extra harder because they're trying to get noticed.
Yeah.
And say what you want about wrestling being scripted and predetermined, that slam, almost like an attitude adjustment that Adam Cole took onto the chairs.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
Oh my! I cringed.
Yeah, I mean, so say what you want to the world about how it's predetermined, whatever. That hurt.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's
I don't
no
care.
easy way to take that.
Right. That hurt. But what a great match. I mean, it's so entertaining.
Yeah.
Honestly, and of course, I'm a mark for Adam Cole, but to kind of go both ways, you don't know who's going to win until the very end. And yeah, you had the Undisputed Era. You had Fish and O'Reilly come in and kind of, try to play the interference role.
Yeah, but then you also had Sanity sneak in.
You did. So to me, it was kind of a fun match. I think it's a 1A to the overall that we'll get to next. But I really enjoyed the match.
Yeah. I by the way, speaking of Sanity, I do like how I predicted that they would interfere, but but wrong match, because I predicted that they would come in during the tag match, which makes sense because they're in the tag title scene, but
right.
But they also hate the Undisputed Era, so like, okay, fine. They run in during Adam Cole's match. They run in,
Yes. I'll give you half credit.
Yeah,
how about that?
Thanks, because you know what? You get half credit later. Actually, no, you get full credit for something that happens later.
Right.
It's Steve that gets half credit for something that happens at the Rumble.
That's true.
But speaking of Tim's full credit, let's talk about the main event.
Oh, what a great match.
Whew. Oh my God, I can't remember the last time I was that on edge for all the like false finishes.
Heart racing. Because and I thought this was funny, but watching the match, the announcers seem to be all pro Johnny G, right? They're like, "Oh, Johnny's got to win." You know, it almost like and to me, part of it kind of bothered me, but as the match went along, it was kind of cool because then it helped you want to get behind Johnny G more, and the outcome
it's kind of like
was perfect.
It's kind of like how Bobby the Brain Heenan, that one Royal Rumble, was all like, it's not fair for Flair, you know.
It's not fair enough for Flair. Yeah, exactly.
Look at you digging deep.
Right? Yeah.
Well done, Chris. But yeah, I mean, I thought that. I mean, at first it annoyed me, and I even took a note. I was like, God, it's just enough with the Johnny G. And then, you know, as it went along and the finish of the match, I was like, well done.
As soon as they pointed out Candice LeRae, I was like, and I messaged this to both you guys.
You did.
I was like, oh my God, I hope there's a point when she jumps the barricade and beats up Selena Vegas. Yeah,
and thank you for helping me mark at that point, because when that happened, I was like, this is good for Chris. Well done, Chris.
Yeah, right. I was like, yes.
But I Chris, you'll back me on this.
I will.
I'm not a big fan of Almas.
No,
but
he is not a big fan of Almas.
Damn, was he impressive?
Right.
While
I was watching it, I was like, even Timmy's got
the double moonsault.
Oh.
I will point this out because this is one of my favorite. Because I watched Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah. It was so
good.
Right?
You watched it first, and then I caught Axis. Kind of had the playback.
They
of
had
it.
like half of it.
And actually, one of my favorite matches of the most recent Wrestle Kingdom wasn't the Jericho match. It was the Fatal 4-Way with Will Ospreay.
Oh, that was a damn good match.
And Will Ospreay had this move where he did the super kick up against the turnbuckle, but the guy's head was pinned down.
Yes.
And I thought it was really great to see Johnny G do that same move. I kind of marked out with that.
I did too. I was like, I saw that.
But really great in-ring chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah.
And hats off. I mean, again, I've been wrong. I'll eat crow. Almas was super impressive.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really added to the match. And
they tore the house down.
So many near falls. I mean, really, you're exactly right, Chris. Edge of the seat.
Yeah. Paid for the whole seat, only using the edge.
Only need the edge.
Monster Jam this weekend.
But
actually, oddly enough, Monster Jam is this weekend.
It is
in DC.
Sunday. But I mean, enough can't be said about the match. In my opinion, the match of the weekend.
Yeah.
And the match of the year. I know we're in January, but the match of the year
so far, definitely easy contender for match of the year.
Unbelievable. And I thought it was tough following up that Extreme Rules match.
Yeah.
Which had everything. It had blood. It had lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! This was an amazing match.
Yeah. It was a tough act to follow, and they came to it.
Yep. Steve, you got anything more to add to it?
No, just that match stole the show. I thought after the hardcore match, I'm like, the crowd's going to be emotionally exhausted. It's going to be a lot to live up to. But no, they just put their foot on the gas pedal and they didn't let up.
I think all in all, I mean, again, NXT, these takeovers, hats off to Triple H.
Yeah.
I mean, he does such a great job with these. And you know, another great job. And I'm looking forward to, you know, what we're going to get before WrestleMania.
Yeah, I am super excited for what's to come now because, as I teased earlier, Timmy C gets full credit for predicting that after the match that we were just talking about, a young master Tommaso Ciampa made his presence known by thwacking Mr. Johnny Gargano.
He did.
Was it across his back or across his legs?
It was. And word is that he'll be ready by the time WrestleMania comes around. So it looks like we're going to get the double dip. We'll get Almas versus Black for the championship, which I predict that Black will win. And then we'll get Johnny G against Tommaso, which I think is going to be unbelievable. Yeah. And then throw in War Machine in a tag match against, I don't know, maybe the
Sanity
Undisputed
or
Era.
AOP.
And we'll go there.
Yeah. Quick note. I don't know how well you guys know the Spanish, but I was watching. I was watching. I do not know Spanish that well, but I was watching the Rumble with a Spanish friend of mine who had never watched any wrestling. And when Cien Almas comes out, he's like, "Oh, that guy's name means 100 souls." And I was like, "Oh, thanks. I had no idea. That's really cool.
I'm going to use that on my podcast."
Yeah. Also, Il Idolo means the idol.
How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Speaking of the Rumble, let us talk about the main event for the weekend.
I think we'll start in order.
Yeah.
So we've got the WWE Championship, which was AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. The crowd, in my opinion, was hot for both sides. First off, great match to start with.
Yes. Much like Velveteen Dream versus Cassius Ohno, great way to set the tone.
Right. So, I mean, I was a big fan of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens, great show until he then had his injury. But I am such a big fan of the Blue Thunder Bomb.
Oh, yeah.
I was so glad when he used it as a finisher on SmackDown leading into the show. Again, Sami Zayn as a heel.
So good.
It's been great for his character.
Yeah.
Steve, what do you think?
I love the match. I honestly thought it was going to be the end of the feud. So when they did the screw job missed tag, I was like, oh, okay. I guess this is going on until WrestleMania. But no, it was a fantastic match. It did not end how I thought it was going to be. I mean, I knew there'd be shenanigans, but I figured both Shane and Daniel Bryan would come out and there'd be something going on.
No commissioner sightings, right?
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. It still ended screwy, but no sign of either commissioner.
I do love that tag at the end. It was almost like Kevin Owens' hand keeps like moving further and further away, but it was almost like the camera work that made it look like he was moving further away. But that to me was kind of funny. And then after the match, of course, they're talking about how there's controversy. But I thought it was a good opening match. And they kind of kick-started us off into kind of getting into another SmackDown match, which was the Tag Team Championship match, which Samsonite, I was way off. I thought the crowd would be a little bit more into this match.
Right.
They were dead. You could hear a freaking pin drop. And I understand, I mean, Gable and Benjamin, or Shelty B, as you call him.
Shelty B. And Chatty G.
They aren't, really gelling in my opinion, but I thought, at least on Chad Gable's side, he was showing enough that he could, kind of carry them a little bit as a tag. But the whole match was just terrible. I did think it was kind of funny when the Usos came out and talked about the Uso penitentiary again, and all I could think about was the DUI penitentiary.
I was even me being the big fan of the Usos was still kind of lukewarm on this, and I ended up again. I was watching the Rumble. Humble brag, I have friends. I was watching the Rumble with a couple people who had never seen wrestling before, so I spent most of this match just explaining what was going on, and I was like, wow, I'm not paying attention to this match at all. And then it was over, and I was like, oh, okay.
And when it was over, you heard the biggest cheer of the entire match because I think the crowd was happy that it was over.
Yeah.
I've never seen, I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, but I've never seen a 2 out of 3 falls that only needed 2 falls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, that was another thing. I was like, I get, the reasoning behind it being a 2 out of 3 falls match, but I hear 2 out of 3 falls and I'm like, oh, it's going to be long.
Right.
So I was like, I already don't really care about this rivalry, and then it's also going to be a long match.
And I thought it was weird when the first fall took so long.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on it. It was kind of a dud. I will say I am surprised that the next match in line was the 30-man Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I when they announced it, I was like, oh, okay. So not only are we doing the Rumble in the middle of the show, but the women get the rub, get their match later.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure just yet if it was going to get the main event. Ultimately, yes, it did. Which good on them.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, okay, so the boys go on first. Cool. Well, I like this.
And that's what I was hoping when I saw that this match was going on at that point. I said, please don't have the Lesnar match as your end of the night.
Or
if
you're
going to do this, put the women at the very end.
My big thing was like, please, beyond just that, I was also like, and please don't have them be back to back. Like, no matter what, they should not have been back to back Rumbles. Yeah. And thankfully, they knew that they didn't do that.
Yep.
That would have been terrible. Like, even if it was like back to back main events, like they were both like it was the men's and then the ladies immediately after it, and that was the main event. Like that still would have been. This is not too much,
right? They're really against Baron Corbin, aren't they? They've really got something on them.
Yeah,
really irritated someone backstage. Only the third guy to ever fail his Money in the Bank, and then he gets quickly eliminated. Like I don't know if he peed in Vince McMahon's Cheerios or what.
Which is weird because like every like third month he gets something. Like he got Andre the Giant, he got Money in the Bank.
Yep.
He got the U.S. title. And like he'll get it, and then like it's almost like they're like, okay, fine, we've finally gotten over whatever you did to piss us off. Here's a cool opportunity, and he pisses them off again. And they're like, all right, fine, fuck you.
All right, it's mine.
Yep.
They're going to lose to Harvey Whippleman.
But I will say the one benefit that came out of his temper tantrum was Elias's entrance.
Yes.
And the more I see Elias, the more I just love the guy.
By the way, Elias coming in, that was the longest 90 seconds I've ever experienced because I'm pretty sure it was about 3 minutes long. Yeah. Granted, I'm pretty sure it's a well-known fact that the 90 seconds is a fluid 90 seconds.
Yep.
But seriously, like it took him 90 seconds to get to the ring, and then he had a solid 2 minutes in there before anyone else got called in, and it was glorious.
It was amazing. I love Elias so much.
Also, another thing that came from, if I remember correctly, something that came from his tantrum was the Heath Slater comic bit.
Yes.
I loved that. One of the people that I was watching with, like as soon as the third person knocked Heath Slater down, she was like, "My God, I hope he wins this." Like look at his shirt. He has kids. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's his whole gimmick."
Did he ever get eliminated?
Yes, he did. He did get eliminated. Okay. Yeah, because I remember she was like, "No, he has kids."
All right, good.
He got to eliminate Sheamus though, which I was not expecting.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Sheamus taking the like 1 5 second out.
And we had 2 NXT representatives.
Yeah.
Cien Almas came back.
Mm-hmm. And we had your boy
Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah,
that's right.
They both did a very good job in there.
Kofi Kingston landed on
landed on Xavier Woods,
right? And then the plate of pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I was hoping they'd throw the pancakes down like stepping stones, and he'd just walk on like a little.
That would have been wonderful.
That would have been cool. But how great was the pogo stick kind of, and then elimination of Jinder? That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But Kofi does it again.
Yeah.
And welcome back, Rey Mysterio. I got to say, I tweeted about this. If you remember a few years ago, Rey Mysterio was number 30, and that when everyone was all high and mighty about Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, everyone was pissed off.
Out of the building.
Oh, wait, we're still all high and mighty about Daniel Bryan. But anyway.
Hey, you know who wasn't in this Rumble either?
You shut it. But I will say, it was good to see the crowd's reaction to Rey Mysterio coming back in.
Yeah.
I thought it was well-deserved. Rey Mysterio is somebody that's been through a lot, that's done a lot for WWE, and I was very happy to see the crowd's reaction, especially after what happened the last time.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of Rey Mysterio and great things that he's done, I don't think I've mentioned this on this podcast. I mentioned it on my Friday the 13th podcast, but did you know that he was the stunt man for Freddy Krueger in Freddy vs. Jason?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Or a stunt man. There's like, Freddy Krueger had like 5 stunt men, but I believe during the fight scene at Crystal Lake where Freddy Krueger comes into real life, a lot of some of those, fights were Rey Mysterio.
He must not have been wearing his lucha mask.
No, he was wearing a Freddy Krueger mask.
Yeah.
But he also is credited as his Christian name.
Did he do a 619?
No, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I would have not picked up on it.
You would have had no idea.
But I think from a smart perspective, it was great to see Shinsuke win.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
The crowd definitely did not want Roman Reigns. I definitely did not want Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Even though he was one of my Rumble picks from the random drawing that you did. But nobody wanted John Cena to win either.
No.
But it was a great finish.
My God. Well, real quick, speaking of no one wanting John Cena to win, his match on Raw the night after versus Finn
Balor. Yeah.
Oh man, I have never felt so bad for John Cena, but at the same time also agreed with the crowd. Like I'm like, I want Finn to win this,
right?
Because John Cena doesn't need this win.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't need to be in the Elimination Chamber.
No.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter who's in the Elimination Chamber because Roman Reigns is going to win. So.
Calm down, Smark.
I did like the when there was 6 people left in the ring, sort of like the stare down between the new and old school.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and then when there was 4 people left in the ring, it was the stare down between the shove down your throats and the Smarks want these guys to get a push. Because it was John Cena and Roman versus Finn and Shinsuke, and. You could see it in their eyes. They all knew.
Yeah. So the next match is the.
Well, real quick, congratulations to Steve for getting Shinsuke number 14 in the Rumble pool.
Whatever.
None of us marked Mark 1.
No, Daniel Bryan wasn't there.
And Elias did not last long enough. And neither did the Miz.
Right.
But I guess the Miz was closer to winning than Elias was.
That's true.
Just because the Miz came out at 26.
So, Seth Rollins got knocked out by Roman Reigns. I don't know if that's going to mean anything down the road, but it looks like the Shield's done.
Yeah.
By the way. Just throwing that out there.
In my heart of hearts, the Shield's been done since Dean had to go out on injury.
Thank you.
It wasn't the same.
Thank you for getting deep with us today.
Yeah, right? Yeah. My heart of hearts.
Yeah, thank you.
Like CrossFit Jesus was betrayed by Roman Judas Iscariot.
Oh.
Benedict Arnold.
And then Dean the Baptist will come back, and even though he wasn't one of the apostles.
So we had the Raw Tag Team Championship, where we had Seth Rollins and the Human Mute Button, Jason Jordan, against Cesaro and Sheamus, the Bar.
Yeah. I'm glad that all 3 of us picked the Bar for this for our Mark predictions.
It was I gotta say again, the crowd was pretty dead.
Yeah.
I know it's a tough act to follow. I think all 3, Seth Rollins, Cesaro, and Sheamus, were all tired.
Yes. And they were the only ones that were competing in this match, apparently.
Jason Jordan with the injury.
I get that. I get what he was like legitimately injured, but like they could at least have him be like carted off to the back or something. So just sitting there like holding his head, like his puppy just died or something.
I will say as a mark for Seth Rollins, and you know, he was definitely sore on Monday for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, going through that and the other, I also think that the boss is probably Sasha Banks is probably pretty sore too.
Yeah.
You know, so
a little dead.
But yeah, that match was dead. It was boring to me. I couldn't wait for that to get over. And even going into the next match, the Universal Championship, it was boring. There was missed spots. You had Brock Lesnar telling Braun Strowman to slow the F down.
He clocked him.
Yeah.
UFC 100 punched him right in the side of the head.
Yeah,
I felt that punch.
Yeah, I mean, and then Braun Strowman into the table that was set up on the side that he kind of just was like, oh, you pushed me just hard enough to lean in and break the table. I thought there were way too many missed spots. I thought the match was terrible, to be honest.
Yeah.
God awful.
Well, see, the problem is that leading up to it, they've beaten the hell out of each other, slammed through tables, pulled scenery down on each other. Yeah. So short of like Braun driving a monster truck and running Brock over with it.
I would have popped for that.
Kane added nothing. Kane added nothing to that match.
No. Kane literally, like I said, Kane was there to take the pin, and that's all he was there to do. That's all he did do.
So
yeah, I did like the destruction of the announce tables. That's always gonna get a little something out of me, but like it was kind of a too little, too late situation.
So as someone that's a mark, yourself there of Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
So he's obviously out of the championship picture because we all know that Roman Reigns is going to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. As my smart, I know. But how do you feel about the rumors that he will either face The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship, or he will team up with Ronda Rousey if The Rock is not available and face Stephanie and Triple H at WrestleMania?
I think I would rather he do the team up out of those two, just because as much as I want a belt on him, I don't really want to see like an undercard belt on him, you know. And also, I don't want The Miz to lose the belt. I want The Miz to have that belt forever.
If The Miz did lose the belt, it'd because around WrestleMania weekend is when Maurice is supposed to have their baby.
That's true.
So if they did that, they'd probably just have, like they did when he went to go film the Marine Part 37 or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Shield been. Yeah. They have him just beat him up. Oh, he's so beat up he can't compete, and now he's Intercontinental Champion, and he gets paternity leave to go be with Maurice.
Yeah, that's fair. I could see that. I will say, going into this, I knew that Brock was going to retain, so like I was prepared emotionally.
Right.
But I gotta say, like, regardless of the outcome, I am more excited for Braun to be teaming with Alexa. By the time this comes out, they've already done it, but we haven't watched it yet. But Braun and Alexa Bliss in the mixed match challenge. Yes. I cannot wait to see that match because I love them both.
Your Alexa is not understanding what you're saying.
That's fine. She does that.
I hope they do a frog splash bit that they used to do with Hornswoggle, where like she'll climb top of it, he'll just throw her.
No.
on top of that.
They released a video today, I believe, where they were trading each other their shirts. So he gave Alexa like a 5XL get these hands shirt, and then she gave him like an extra small Little Miss Bliss shirt. Right. And they both try them on, and she's swimming in this shirt. Like it's practically going down to her ankles, and it's going down to her wrists. And then you just see for like 2 minutes him just like punching through the sleeves and trying to like get it over his head. They are adorable. I love that in this mixed match challenge, they kind of like are a little wishy-washy with with the kayfabe of their characters, so that they can have the proper chemistry that they have backstage. Like even what Becky and Sammy have been doing, where like he's still kind of heely, and he's trying to like he's constantly goading her like, well, hey, why don't you go like beat up that guy? He was being rude to you or whatever, and she's like, no, I can't do that.
I can't do that.
And then like there was one video where she gets a Newsies hat delivered to her, and she puts it on, and she starts being a dick. Like that's the source of his like heel power.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. As little anticipation as I had for these mixed mass challenge.
One more time.
No, I don't care. The MMCs. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, so it's fine. As dumb as I thought it was going to be, with the WWE doing this, their like promo work for this stuff has been really good.
Yep.
And the matches are fine. I've watched the first two that have come out already.
I love
they're fine.
Asuka and The Miz.
Oh, they're great together.
They have together.
Asuka.
They both did the Daniel Bryan yes kicks together.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You mean the the it kicks?
The it
sir?
Kicks, yeah, the it kick. And then
watch out, Corey Graves is going to cut you.
and kudos to New Day and Carmelo for coordinating their outfits.
Oh together. My God, that was beautiful. And the New Day all had like the Money in the Bank lunchboxes.
All right,
but none of that has been on the Royal Rumble pay-per-view.
So do we want to get into the main event, the women's 30-person? I thought it was really well done.
It was wonderful. It was a great way to build on the excitement of the men's Rumble.
A lot of surprises. I thought Kairi Sane looked very impressive.
Yeah.
I love Kairi Sane. That was really I've seen her before, but that was the first time I actually sat down and watched her wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
The minute she started walking the plank, I was like, okay, I'm hooked.
I had only seen her in the Mae Young Classics, and she looked even better in this.
And I think that's what the great part about this match was, is it was a great way to showcase the women and the level of talent that they have from a wrestling perspective. Because, I mean, you guys were great evidence just right there that, this was a great way to kind of showcase her and others.
Yeah. Lots of people got to see Ember Moon who hadn't seen her before.
Right, even with the one arm.
Yeah. And then that's a great way to...
I thought that was amazing.
Yeah. And that's a great way to tease, like, hey, watch NXT. Find out why she has a fucked up arm. Same thing with Adam Cole. Why is he all taped up?
Yes. So I if that's the point they were getting across, I think they did a really good job of it. They brought back some classics. Kelly, oh my gosh, she looks
I don't
amazing.
know. Yeah.
Michelle McCool, which is weird that everyone. I mean, I understand why, but it was weird that everyone started chanting Undertaker at her.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
But how great was it? How many eliminations?
Yeah.
I mean, even the people they brought in later, they came in and had eliminations.
Yeah.
But it was really...
Trish Stratus. Oh, come on.
I got goosebumps when Trish and Mickie James stared down. I'm like, oh my God, it's happening again.
Yeah, just like old times.
Yeah.
Vicky Guerrero probably gave you goosebumps too.
Oh my God.
That was awesome. I marked it like, Kathy. I'm like, yes, she's back.
Naomi with her best Kofi impersonation.
God. If she becomes the women's Rumble Kofi, I will be so happy because she is arguably she is the most athletic in the same regard that Kofi is the most athletic.
Yeah.
And she's the one that you can trust to do those spots. Mm-hmm. And I like how she did the whole chair thing, but she didn't do the exact same thing where she pogo sticked. She did the wheelbarrow.
She did it easy. I thought hers made more sense than Kofi's pogo stick.
Exactly. It's in her respect, or in respect to her, a lot smarter. Because a lot lower chance of falling over.
How is that better than pancakes?
Oh,
I mean, seriously, come on.
I am literally just talking about it a couple years ago.
No, I'm talking about the pancakes this year. I mean, how is riding on a chair better than standing on pancakes? A stack of pancakes.
Because now you can't eat the stack of pancakes because they got foot shit all over it.
Well, I mean, who's talking about eating pancakes? It's about surviving the Royal Rumble. I mean, come on.
Well, that didn't work out for him too well now, did it? All he did was eliminate one other guy, and then he got tossed out.
Yes, but it's the moments that we remember. They said in the match, it's not who's in the Rumble that you remember, it's who wins the Rumble, but I still remember Kofi and the pancakes.
Of course.
Suck on
you
that.
Always remember that.
Yeah, suck my. Anyway, are we surprised that the Bellas were in at the end? They were...
I wasn't that surprised, but maybe that's because I watched Total Divas, and all they've been doing for the past season is both of them talking about how they want to get back into wrestling.
And that's fine. But I guess to me, I was surprised that they were part of the final three.
I am surprised that they were part of the final three. That was my surprise. Yes, yeah. I think that's.
Thinking, oh God, please don't tell me they're going to win this. Please don't tell me they're going to win this.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think that was just WWE's way of saying, hey, they're back and they're going to be here for a while. Right. It's not just there's some random women in the middle. Like how they were bringing back
Molly Holly.
Exactly. Some of the older talent,
Jacqueline, Molly Holly. Yeah.
It was no, they are back. Yeah. And I think that's all they were trying to showcase. And then of course. I did like how Brie got eliminated because Nikki was like fuck you, and then everyone on commentary was surprised, and I was like, why are you surprised by that? That was a whole storyline that
we've seen it before.
Where she died in the womb, which is probably one of the most intense wrestling insults ever.
Yeah, been there, done that. Yeah,
but I liked it. I liked seeing them back. I do like the Bellas, especially near more so with Nikki, because Brie was always a better wrestler than Nikki, but Nikki, the last time she came back, when she was back from her neck injury and went all the way to Mania and a little bit after last year, she really showed that she had improved. So I can't wait to see if she's gotten even better now since she lost Dancing with the Stars.
I love that entrance of hers.
Oh yeah, it's good.
But how desperate was the crowd for a yes chant? So when Brie came in, it was like fulfilling that need.
you finally got your yes chance.
Yeah,
they popped their load.
Yeah.
But again, just like we had talked about from a smart perspective, Asuka with the win.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see who she chooses. I think she'll go with Charlotte. And then Ronda Rousey comes out and kind of steals the show, which was kind of surprising. It's like we have this focus on both the legends and the current women that are in this match. And then I kind of wasn't a big fan about bringing Ronda Rousey out at the end and having her kind of point at the sign and say, "Oh, well, look at me, look at me."
That was it.
Yeah, I thought that was terrible.
And then she pulled a rock, and she wasn't even on Monday because she was filming a movie.
I mean, personally, I didn't really mind. I liked it. I mean, I liked that she wasn't like a. You're right there, Steve.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're in the middle of a crinkly basket.
Oh no, sorry, I just had to clean that up. I'm okay now.
Okay, good.
But I didn't mind it. Like I would have preferred. I preferred that over her being like a surprise entrant into the Rumble, because like then like I don't know. I didn't mind it. Like I saw a lot of people online being pissed off at it. Like some people going as far as to say, well, now no one's going to remember that Asuka was the winner of the Royal Rumble, and I'm like, I have no problem remembering that Asuka won.
I wouldn't go that far, but I still
did a good job of hyping. I thought they did a good job of hyping them both equally, though.
Yeah,
even on Raw, I thought they did a good job of hyping the both of them and not just making it the Ronda show. I think they did a good job of making it aware that Asuka.
I would have preferred, like, if this is like supposed to set up that like it's going to be Ronda versus Asuka at WrestleMania, like I would have preferred like someone to say something, like like maybe have Ronda come out and be like, her, nah, you want to face me or something to that effect.
Yeah, the way they did it was terrible.
I don't think it was terrible.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, you're
yeah, that's right.
You're allowed your opinion. I'm just saying that it's not the official opinion of the show.
Oh no,
the official opinion of the show is that we are torn. We go both ways.
Ooh.
Oh my.
Oh no. I don't know. I just thought it could have been handled a little bit better. I think the focus was on her, and not on kind of everybody else. But to each their own. I know that's going to help sell tickets for WrestleMania. A
big thing that I thought helped even it out, in my opinion, was that when Rousey goes for the handshake and Asuka swats it away. I thought that was like a nice little like subtle like kind of like fuck you, this is my moment, kind of thing.
See, all the ladies too, and
yeah.
I don't know if it's like legitimate anger or if they're just doing it as part of like a big storyline. Have been throwing shade about it. I've been complaining about it. Like Sasha was like, they asked her about it. She goes, I was always raised, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. So I'm not going to say anything about Ronda.
And Ronda didn't say anything either.
And it's kind of like a Roddy Piper kind of thing that she's got going on. What's the deal with that?
Well, the story with that is that even in her UFC days, she was like billed as Rowdy Ronda Rousey, and Piper himself gave his blessing, was like, yeah, that's cool. So I think they're just the WWE being the nostalgia addicts that they are, were like, well, if she's going to be Rowdy Ronda Rousey, let's play that up.
Well, that was even Piper's leather jacket she was wearing.
That his son personally handed off to her, said, yeah, you can wear this, which I thought was really cool when I read that. I was like, oh,
yeah.
I was a little like, oh, they're even using like his font and his shirt design. Okay, is she gonna have like her own little version of Piper's Pit eventually?
Yeah, she's gonna hit Asuka with a coconut.
Nice pull.
Yeah, right. Or hit. I don't know who the equivalent of Captain Lou would be, but like hit him with like some kind of framed picture. What was it, like an album record, one of those like platinum record things for Cyndi Lauper?
Yeah, it was Cyndi Lauper's.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I worked on Cyndi Lauper's reality show, and they buried the hatchet during production, so I saw that clip countless times.
Aww.
I was there at the Raw like a while back ago. When,
because it was at Nassau.
Heath Slater was doing that thing where he'd come out and the Legend would come out and beat him up when Piper came out.
Right.
So that was the Rumble.
Yeah.
What did we think of the Rumble, guys?
Overall, loved it.
I loved it. Besides the tag match, which was kind of slow, and the Universal match, I thought everything else was brilliant.
Yeah.
I hate to counter it, but I thought it was just okay.
Yeah.
I thought the 2 Rumble matches were good.
Mm-hmm.
The KO, Sami Zayn, and AJ Styles match was good. Everything else was poop. I thought the NXT takeover again.
Yeah. Outshadowed it. Yeah. I mean the at a Rumble pay-per-view, I'm always going to care more about the Rumble matches themselves, and that's going to kind of set the tone for how I, feel about the Rumble, in hindsight.
Right.
So that's, and since I loved both the Rumble matches on this one, like that's gonna change how I perceive it. Yeah, if you ask me, more nuanced questions about the individual matches, yeah, sure, I'll tell you that the tag matches or the Universal title match weren't that great, but those Rumble matches were good enough to carry the rest of the pay-per-view, in my opinion. But yeah, overall, in the takeover leagues, they did a much better job of keeping a consistent excitement.
Did you also like the Colonel KFC chicken
I was about to
Rumble?
say, we forgot the KFC Rumble.
Ever since KFC has started doing this thing where each new item they put on their menu, they have a different actor playing the Colonel, I have joked about wanting a Colonel Royal Rumble. So I am so glad that they have finally given me a semblance of it. I really, in my heart of hearts, again, if I may get real with you guys, if I may get deep, I want all the actors to come back. I want Norm Macdonald. I want Jim Gaffigan. I want, all the guys. Billy Zane, I believe, has done it.
How do you feel?
Club.
Yeah. How do you feel about a Ric Flair?
Yeah. I mean, he's the one that won the Rumble, so
he did. Yes.
But all of them, even Becky Lynch, get Becky Lynch and Reba McEntire in there. Get them all just duking it out. Get the Colonel's Battle Royale.
I tweeted at them they should start a stable called the Chicken Club.
Ooh. And then they can go up against ICP.
Yes.
Who's going chicken hunting? We's going chicken hunting.
Who's going chicken hunting? We's going chicken hunting. Yes.
Why weren't they at Raw 25, huh?
Yeah, right.
I know. No oddities feature. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on.
I might have brought that up already.
Kelly, but not the oddities.
Right.
Well, I mean, most of them are dead, though. So.
Yeah, that does kind of put a dampener on it.
All right, so now next up is Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Real quick, I before we sign off, I did realize in between this episode and last episode,
right.
The first episode we did,
yes,
Timmy and I kind of gave an overview of how we got into wrestling. We haven't done that with Steve.
That's a good call.
Steve, what got you into wrestling and what keeps you into wrestling?
I don't remember exactly how.
Okay, cool. Bye, guys.
That's yeah.
But I remember my earliest wrestling memories. I remember.
Now you're breaking up. Okay, so sorry.
I remember Papa Shango making Ultimate Warrior's face bleed. I remember the match made in heaven and the match made in hell. I remember Jake the Snake gifting Macho Man a snake, and I just watched it ever since. And even in the Attitude Era.
So was it something your friends, your family were into, or how did you get into it? Were you just randomly flipping through channels or rabbit ears? I was
randomly flipping through, and I just saw Hulk Hogan, and I'm like, wow, that guy kind of looks like my dad. And I just started watching him. And
Wrestling,
this is awesome.
Wrestling just was your babysitter.
Dad, are you a real American?
Pretty much. And then the Attitude Era happened, and that was just for a teenage boy, that was the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it. I was the perfect age for the Attitude Era. Never got into it. Yeah.
I kind of fell out during the Ruthless Aggression Era.
Most people did.
Yeah. But
that's what I hear.
Yeah. The Ruthless, I just didn't do anything for me. I don't know why. No particular reason. I just kind of fell out.
And then CM Punk brought everyone back.
Yeah. Pipe bomb.
Yeah. Surprisingly on the Raw 25. But yeah, well, thank you, Steve, for sharing that.
No problem.
So yes, as Timmy C was alluding to earlier, the next thing on the docket is the Elimination Chamber. I should have done my homework and looked up when it is before talking about it.
Well,
do you know when it is?
Well, well, while you're looking it up, I will say we will have our first ever women's Elimination Chamber this year.
Yep.
So I know people were kind of hemming and hawing about that. I think it's really good that we're doing this.
Yeah.
That we've got the women involved, that the women are kind of showcased. Because really, the women are more, and we talked about this, the women are more nowadays than those bra and panty matches.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, they're great looking. So that's never going to change.
Yeah.
But now they're really great wrestlers in the ring.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Well, and I'm glad that like with the all women's Royal Rumble, we got to showcase some of the women of wrestling past who were still really good wrestlers even in the bra and panty eras.
Yeah,
that's true.
And
after.
Trish.
Yep. Although we were missing Stacy Keibler. I was hoping to see her. But it's okay. I'll get over it. Kelly was enough for me.
But yeah, so very exciting. We do have 2 Elimination Chamber matches.
That's true.
With this coming pay-per-view, men's and women's,
so
which is good.
At least with the women, we'll be able to have somewhat of a question of who's going to win, at least. So for the men, we know that Roman Reigns is going to win. So it doesn't matter who's in. We'll know that he'll win.
Yeah, officially.
I need to pull the keyboard away from you.
I know, right?
You fucking smark.
I know, I hate it. No, I just hate it. And you know this. I've never been a big fan of Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. That's the guy that they're pushing.
More like
Let them
Boom
push
and Reigns, am I right?
When it rains, I snores.
All right.
But yeah,
I don't know who's worse, him or Jason Jordan at this point, but it's a toss-up. But so Elimination Chamber's our next one. So I think this was successful from a perspective of from our podcast perspective of being able to post early our predictions.
Yeah.
I did have some good feedback about people that listened to us before the Royal Rumble.
For to pull back kayfabe a little bit, for reasons of bandwidth, I think from here on out, the predictions are going to be YouTube exclusive.
Cool.
But then this episode, I'm going to do my best to make sure that this everyone gets to listen to the reactions. So it'll be in the show notes. So hopefully you haven't gotten this far and haven't listened to the predictions yet.
Yeah, well,
there'll always be a post with a link to the YouTube channel.
My boy Scooty said it doesn't matter when we post this; it's already old news anyway. I told him to buzz off.
But Elimination Chamber is happening on February 25th. So expect a predictions episode to come out prior to that pay-per-view, and then just like this, we'll have a reactions episode coming out shortly thereafter. Any final words before we sign out?
I hope that since we're having all these women's matches the men's get, let's hope for now an all-women's Inferno match.
Yeah, there you go.
Or a casket match.
And from a podcast perspective, I hope, Steve, you continue agreeing with me so you can continue being on this podcast.
Because as soon as you start disagreeing, you're out.
I will be the Gerald Briscoe to your Mr. McMahon, sir. No problem.
That's right.
I'll be your stooge.
But anyway, no, Steve, this is great having you on.
Yeah.
Look forward to continuing this throughout 2018. And Chris, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, sure. I am Chris Nolan. You can find me on the Twitters at the EG Nolan. Tim, where can the kids find you?
Well, I am at Timmy C84 on the Twitters, so you'll see me tweeting about wrestling and all other sports. Steve-O?
You can follow me at Harvey_S, where I'm either complaining about Cleveland sports or being sarcastic about.
All right. So this has been Geek Out Championship Wrestling, a wrestling podcast. We will see you at the next pay-per-view. Have a great one.
See ya.
This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, we've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual catching up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.